Miami had the number 12 class in America signed 24 players because you counted a scholarship forward from last year. And so then you only had 24 spots because the NCAA said you have a hard cap of 25. Meanwhile, Alabama has 27 in this class, and they're supposed to be trying to take a transfer person also, just because, apparently rules don't apply to them, but whatever. In our case, rules do apply. So we have 24 players who have signed in this class. We have a bunch of them who've already enrolled. The early enrolling deadline has now passed as I'm looking at my calendar or the date. So those who are on campus, and they can be in spring ball, which is supposed to start on Detroit Day. That'd be 3/1/3, just so y'all know, because that's the Detroit area code on March the 13th. And I, have written a little bit about it. We had Stefan Cheatham also write about it on stateoftheu.com, recapping and reclassifying, or just quantifying exactly the kind of talent that Miami was able to bring in. So obviously your top two recruits would be 5-star, number 3 overall player in America, Leonard Taylor, and 5-star, number 1 safety in America, James Williams, and then a bunch of other talented guys across the board. A top 5 quarterback in that class. You got the best kicker in America taking over for his brother, and a bunch of other guys. So there's a lot to like in this class. First of all, just of the high school, the prep kids that have been signed and are coming in for Miami. So that's strong. The other thing is, the other thing that people talk about, especially in the time of the transfer portal, is recruiting from your own roster. And with everybody getting the additional year of eligibility, we were able to get pretty much, most of the contributing guys back. Zach Mccloud is going to be back for a 6th year, whether he plays defensive end or linebacker, that remains to be seen, but he's probably going to be a flex guy who's going to be in between both positions, but probably more on the DN side, so we can get some more athleticism in at linebacker. De'Aaron King obviously is back for a 6th year, coming off of a ACL, MCL injury, rehabbing, but he's one of the top handful, 2 or 3 actually probably returning quarterbacks in America. Cam Harris is back. Michael Harley is back for a 5th year, even though he's already played the first 4, so he's back again. Amari Carter, he didn't want any videos or edits, so said Manny Diaz, but he's going to be back for another year. So you're recruiting from your own roster really strongly as well. Sure, you have Gregory Rousseau, who opted out before the season. You have Jalen Phillips, who had a first-team All-American season and is going to go to the NFL draft after his 4th or 5th year in college. You have Quincy Roche, who was a 5th-year grad student already, and he's leaving as well. But yeah, most of the guys who were able to come back to Miami are coming back to Miami, minus a couple of transfers. We're going to look elsewhere for playing time. So that's a really strong thing that, we were able to get the guys to come back to the school and then have a strong recruiting class, another strong recruiting class, because, one of the recruiting rules is you have to stack classes on top of each other. And I think Miami did that.
So Cam, when it comes to your personal evaluation of players coming out of high school, so you go to 247 Sports, Rivals, ESPN. Obviously, those 3 make up the composite, and it spits out something that says, like, this guy's the 7th best tight end, and he's the 48th best player in the country, and he's the 19th best player in Florida, or whatever the case may be. So that's a starting point. That's obviously there's a high level of accuracy to that. Mm-hmm. What other process do you go through in terms of taking that, what I would assume to be the groundwork, and then add that to your own eyeball test of reviewing tape, or those trusted sources that you go to that say, yeah, this kid's 48th in the nation, I don't think he's really that good, or this guy's number 272, but he's a hell of a lot better than that?
I trust my eyes, and I trust some of the people that I know who go out to see some of these events. So like Andrew Ivins from 247, who I've known since he was doing FAU and high school preps for the Palm Beach Post part-time, right when he graduated from college some years ago. He's somebody that I know and have interacted with for a long time, and I trust his evaluations because I've been there shoulder to shoulder with him at these events, and hearing him and seeing him talk about, and like also seeing some of these players, he's somebody that I trust. And then, so I also trust people that he trusts, if we're able to talk about that. Bud Elliott, who is now at 247 CBS Sports, who was at SB Nation for a long time. He's another person that I've known for almost or over a decade now, from just being around high school football and the recruiting circuit and things like that. And, he was always the guy with the hat was his thing when he was at SB Nation. But he was at every single camp and things like that. And, someone who also I've seen and heard talk intelligently and seen him talk or heard him talk with other people, including, some college coaches, some pretty well-known college coaches now that I think about it. So he's somebody who's, input or information and viewpoint I trust. And then, obviously people who he trusts as well. But like sports isn't rocket science either, So, I mean, I also trust my eyes too, because I can look and say, okay, well, this guy, this, and like everybody has their areas of expertise. So, I know that I'm able, like with like receivers and running backs, and safeties, like that's where I personally can look more than some other people and I'll hit it. I know for a fact, Scoop on the U, Rust, he's a Roman's good friend of mine. Roman is a contributor for us, and I know Rusty as well. But Scoop, man, that man knows quarterbacks, like period. He sees them, it doesn't matter. He's just like no, and he pretty much never misses, And then there's some other thing, and then you can also just see like a Jadeveon Clowney, he's a freak. You know what I mean? Somebody of that size, and like there's some that you don't have to really be a learned person in the world of evaluation to see. No, this kid is just bigger, faster, and stronger than everybody else, and he should be 3 years in the first round draft pick. But you also look, as you grow more into your knowledge of the sport, or at least as I have, continuing, you're looking for scheme fit. Where they're going to be, because you can have this big athletic kid, but like we're going to use him, like does his skill set fit, whatever engagement they're trying to use him for on the field and things like that. So, it's just experience over time too. And like, look, I've missed, even though I'm talking about, I'm usually able to see wide receivers. I thought Ermon Lane was the number one wide receiver in America, and I didn't think it was close. And I was wrong. And I said that, so, you learn and you grow and things like that as well. So, again, it's more art than science. So you're going to have some times where some guys who you thought were going to be great aren't. And, maybe it's for whatever reason. It's personal motivation. It's, the girls on campus. Maybe I want to party more. Maybe, like there could be some on-field thing. It'd be some off-field thing that trickles down into their performance. Or maybe they were just a big fish in a small pond and they got into the big ocean. It's just like, well, there's some sharks that are bigger than you, buddy. And those kind of things happen. But yeah, if you're and always watching and learning and listening more, because I have a viewpoint. Yes, I have the criterion or what I'm looking for and things like that. But continuing to talk to people, continuing to read more and watch more, that'll update your worldview and everything so that you can continue to learn. Because even when I was a teacher, like I said, you had to be a lifelong learner. And in this, industry of blogging and recruiting, like you still have to continue to be a lifelong learner. Even though you can still come from the same viewpoint, you will have more depth and well-roundedness coming with that as well.